Testing. Okay. Don't see any picture. All right. Why am I not getting a picture? See, sound is coming. Anybody there? Anybody there in the chat? This is why I don't go live. Anybody there? Hello, Phil. You guys see why I don't do lives? Apparently, I'm not. I know YouTube keeps changing their rules every so often, so you won't get to see my pretty face. Well, all you're getting is what looks to be a black circle with some type of 3-star ninja thing. Is that what you're seeing, Phil? All right. Well, this probably won't work. Well, while I'm sitting here trying to figure this out, if you guys have questions, feel free to throw them out there. While I try to figure out why my camera does not want to do its thing. Otherwise, this will be the shortest live stream ever. Don't be shy if you got a question. All right. Thank you, Corvus. AR Cavly, no chance to get any group RPG time. It's been pretty much solo for me for the last couple of years. when I moved down here to help my mom, we did have a small group get together every once in a while, but we wound up doing miniature wargaming instead. And then COVID hit. And because of the COVID situation, one of the major players who was always there, who was my primary opponent, had to move. So, not a lot of group RPGs. I miss those days. Well, I guess since I can't fix the camera, I guess I'll just run my mouth and answer any questions that come up. But when I go through my comments, Artichoke Dips comments, a bunch of other comments, you always see the question, what is the best RPG to play solo? I figured that'd be the subject for today's discussion. The best RPG to play solo is simply the RPG you want to play. Now, there are some games that are more conducive to play solo. For Against Darkness, that's a good dungeon crawl game to play solo. It's designed for solo and works great solo. Of course, there's always good old, if you want to go the other route, full-fledged RPG. Can't go wrong with a little Ironsworn. But I've already done a video on Ironsworn. Just look back a couple of videos, and you'll see my talk on Ironsworn and why it's probably the best game for solo, at least to start. But then there's another category of games that comes to mind. It's a category of games, and it's those games where the DM does not roll any dice. That would be a game like Dungeon World, obviously the aforementioned Ironsworn. There was a new game that recently came out based on the board game Talislanta, called Talislanta. And one of my favorites to play solo is Simbaroom or Simbaroom, however it's supposed to be pronounced. That with the Ironsworn for both the delving mechanic and the emulator works great for me. But yeah, the best game to play is the one that you like to play. You just have to take consideration all the work you'll have to put into it. If it's a game that is not designed for solo, nor if it's a game that's got a heavy rule set. If you got a heavy rule set, it becomes more of a adventure in accounting than it does a full-fledged RPG adventure. All right, let me wet my whistle. And if I sound a little tired, it's because I am. When I planned it at this time solely because I have most of the apartment to myself. My mom and my sister are out doing mother-daughter things. But I forgot to take consideration that this is the day I'd be recovering from going to the Georgia Renaissance Fair. So I didn't crawl in here until midnight last night. I didn't actually fall asleep till about 2. So if I sound tired, it's because I am. Simbaroom does look interesting. I like the Cepheus engine lately. Sword of Cepheus is fun. Yeah, I saw that. I actually got the PDF for the Sword of Cepheus, was reading through it. I haven't actually got to play it, but I know a lot of people like playing Traveler, and I know Traveler uses that exact same engine. So, yeah, I was going to try to give Sword of Cepheus a run here sooner or later and see if it's actually worth purchasing the book. What's your experience with it, Mr. A.R. Cavley? I know we got 6 people in here. Y'all don't be shy. If y'all got a question, feel free to ask because we don't have a lot of activity. And I know it's no good looking at a video where there's nothing to look at. So I might have to cut this short if I can't get this thing to work. I don't know why my camera is being such a pain. Yeah, that was one thing I haven't had was when I looked in my collection, I didn't have a 2d6 system. And actually, I'm waiting on there's three miniature war games that are coming out. And I'm going to create my own dungeon crawl game. When it comes to full-fledged RPGs, I'm pretty happy with my Simbar Room Iron Sworn makeup. But every once in a while, I got to have a good tactile dungeon crawl just because I'm used to, my group was primarily for the longest time third edition. So we were used to the miniatures and maps, and I kind of missed that. So I was thinking I've got the Castle Ravenloft and Wrath of Ashardalon board games. So I've got dungeon tiles, plus I've got a Chessex map, plus I got a bunch of other uh, dungeon map materials, and I got plenty of miniatures. So I was looking forward to creating a good dungeon crawl, just because the dungeon crawlers that are out there, I'm not very well interested in. The three war games I'm looking forward to are Wiley Games, uh, the creators of Fistful of Lead. They're coming out with a fantasy version, a 3-book version. Um, First book's the main rules, which is pretty much the standard fare for all their games. The second one is adding magic, and then the third one is monsters and the mazes they live in. So there's your dungeon. The second game, they just finished their Kickstarter, and Ash over at Guerrilla War Games has done a couple of playthroughs of Lasting Tales. That looks like it could be created to make a good dungeon crawl. And then the last one, the one that's kind of flown under the radar, the Dungeoneers Guide, which is also a 2d6 system. So I think, okay, Dungeoneers Guide to 2d6 system. Um, Wiley Games is typically a D10 system, although there are times you roll a D12 or a D8. And Lasting Tales is obviously a 2d6 system. Yeah, I saw the 2-hour war games, but for some reason they didn't grab me. I don't know if I'm not understanding the rules correctly. That's the problem when you've read so many rule sets, they all start meshing in your mind. And you start confusing your own self. Like, was that rule in this game or was that a different game? So that's why, like right now, I'm focusing on some Barroom and Iron Sworn as my RPGs of choice. And then, of course, looking forward to these other 3 games come out so I can use one of them as the baseline to create my own dungeon crawl rules. But let's anybody else got questions? There's a creator. Parts per million, yeah, I know. He has a bunch of y'all need to go to use the drive-through link. Maybe I should put that in here and go look up Parts Per Million. He's got a bunch of solo RPG rule sets for the various games. I know he's got Savage Worlds, Castles and Crusades. I think he's got one for Simba Room. Yeah, he's just got a bunch for a bunch of games. He even did one for Zweihander, and I know Zweihander is a pretty heavy rule set to get into. Actually, R.A. Cavley, here's the best thing you can do. I've noticed on his stuff, the Parts Per Millions guy, download the full preview off Drive Through RPG. Typically, the full preview gives you all the pages. The only thing you got to worry about is, across the page, you got stamped sample file, and you can download that and use that as the basis, try it out. And then if you like it, go back, pay the guy the $4 or $5 he asked for that. And then you can get a copy of it without that sample page and support the guy. That's the best thing that I would think to do, would be to do that. Because I did notice that on a lot of his, just download the full preview. The full preview, literally free, and you get usually it's like 15, 20 pages. So you may want to try just doing that, because if you look at it, you'll get all the pages. All right. Well, unless somebody's got some more questions, since I can't, whatever reason, I hate when YouTube changes their rules and how they set up things. I used to be able to do lives with a friend of mine on another channel on another subject, and that was no problem. But now I can't do squat. Anybody? All right, I'm gonna give you about a minute here if you have any more questions or anything you want to add. Otherwise, I'm gonna cut this live short and try to figure out why I can't get my camera to work. It'd be a very short live, but well, thank you, Mr. A.R. Cavley. You have a good day too, sir. Or ma'am, I don't know. AR, I'm assuming you're a guy, but if you're not, sorry. But you have a good day as well. All right, guys. Looks like technical issues have stormed the castle. All right, Aaron. And thank you for stopping by anyway, and happy gaming, and be safe out there. All right, guys, going once. All right, guys, going twice. All right, I'm going to end this now then and try to figure out what the problem is. Y'all take care and y'all happy gaming.